Today a racist man who used to torment me as a kid came into my business to ask for a job. What was the longest you've waited for karma to kick in? A guy I went to high school with friended me on Facebook. He was caught stealing from my house once back then, bragging about it to mutual friends, whom he thought would not tell me. After the incident we never spoke, although we had the same circle of friends. I kept my distance. He kept his. Flash forward 20 years to now and we were friends on Facebook. I have a pretty cool job in the music industry. Good money and I travel the world. I usually add these former friends just so they can see my life turned out pretty awesome while most of them are in our old hometown working at jobs. Anyway, he updated his status saying that he was devastated that someone stole something from his son and karma this. Blah blah blah. Amongst all the posts from his friends being sorry for him, I simply wrote something like, yeah, it's really terrible when someone steals from you, eh? That must really suck. Karma does have its way of evening things out though. I immediately started getting PMs from mutual friends congratulating me, who remembered the incident in school. He unfriended me after that to my extreme pleasure. TLDR karma eventually 20 years later. My 9th grade English teacher agreed with a student that I was ugly and would never get a girlfriend, in front of the whole class. Still waiting on that karma to happen. When I was in 5th grade, there was a kid who spit on me and bullied me for about 2 months on the bus, and he moved to another bus route. I thought I would never get a chance for revenge. But one day at a little league baseball game I was playing in, I saw him on the opposing team and my blood started boiling. He was the second baseman and he would laugh whenever I would go up to hit the ball. In the last inning, I was up to hit and missed the ball twice and heard him laughing from second base. That got me really mad, and when the pitcher threw the ball I hit a line drive straight for the bully's face. After it hit him, he dropped and cried and the players ran over to him. But no one called timeout, so I ran all the way to third base without getting out. I sat there on third with a huge smirk on my face while they picked him up and walked him to the dugout. I didn't feel bad about it all and still don't feel bad about it. I befriended a larger red-headed girl when I was in grade 3 or 4. She was new to the school. Everyone had their own friends and no one accepted her. I didn't have many friends, so I gladly accepted her. We became best friends. Fast forward to middle school. She was still large but got boobs and wore makeup, so she became popular. I was still a way too tall and too thin awkward girl with a lisp. Everyone made fun of me and she joined in so she could be cool. It got worse and worse until she started instigating it. Would circle beat me with other girls and egg my house. Fast forward again to high school. I filled out a bit and got better friends. About halfway through grade 11 people started realizing how mean and fake she had become and turning on her. She was crying in the hall one day and I went up to her, asked if she was okay and offered my phone to her if she needed to call her mom. She transferred schools for grade 12 because she was being bullied. Funny thing is, I still feel bad for her. Bullying sucks. TLDR bully was itty. Eventually became bullied. I was a really small freshman in high school, like 5 feet 2 inches, and looked like I was probably 12. I was always picked on for being the smallest. I transferred to a private school and fast forward 3 years and I go to a party with all the kids from my old school. I see one of the kids that always had it out for me because he was bigger at the time. I'm now 6 feet 1. Obviously a lot bigger than before. So he talks summit to me and I give it back. He shoves me and without even thinking I one punch code this bag in front of about 80 people. Everyone thought I was a ducking hero and then smoked some bowls with old friends. Great night. In 8th grade, age 13-14, this kid threw a wooden block at me, probably thinking, oh, let's pick on the punk girl. That'll be so hysterical. I blacked out for a good 10-15 seconds after it clocked me in the head. When I came to, he and his friends were all on the ground laughing at how funny this was. I ended up having to go to urgent care and not participate in gym class for a few days. His mom was on the school board and had a large role in the financial decisions of the school, so the administration was afraid to punish him and did nothing. My math teacher was this kid's football coach and made him run extra while everyone else got to take a food-water break. But that was the only justice I got. Fast forward 2 years. Everyone is freaking out that this guy can't play football for the JV team that year. He ended up spraining his back and breaking a few ribs from a drunken escapade into the woods the week before his sophomore year started. And the concussion that he sustained from this was severe enough that a second concussion could have caused serious mental damage. 2 years isn't that long of a time. But considering there were witnesses and the kid should have been arrested and suspended at the very least, it seemed like a long time. It's been 6 years and counting since this dumb girl from high school threatened me with text messages and then broke into my house and stole everything of monetary and sentimental value to both myself and my mother. She never saw any kind of legal repercussion or faced any consequences. I'm still waiting for her to die in a fire or lose her job or something. I am 34, much older than most typical Redditors. So, I've seen people grow up and have seen the results of their lives. Generally speaking, the people who were kind, hardworking, friendly as kids all have succeeded as adults. Those that were just assholes kind of had itty lives. After reading this, I tried to think of the names and faces of the kids who treated me like trash in middle school, but then I realized that I couldn't. They were awful to me simply because I was quiet and they could get away with it. But I don't remember them. Today, I have a good job, a good education, amazing friends, and the knowledge that I will never let myself be someone who preys on others because they seem weak. Right now, coming to the realization that those people just don't matter anymore and knowing that I can have a great life despite them is better than any revenge. So thank you for making me think about that. Family karma here. When I was about 8 and my brother was 11, he got in trouble for punching a kid in the face on the school bus. My brother claims he was defending someone else. I don't really remember it all that clearly. My brother paid the price, was banned from the bus for a while, faced repercussions at school, and my mom made him apologize to the kid he punched in person. A couple of months after the incident, the mother of the kid he punched decided to flip the crazy switch and sued my parents for mental anguish, claiming that her son now had crippling emotional problems stemming from the incident. She showed up at board meetings, tried to get my brother expelled, painted a picture of my family as shady and my brother as a delinquent and violent. My parents ended up escaping the legal battle with a little bit of dignity intact, but feeling ostracized in our community of 90 people. Fast forward, I'm now 27. My brother is 30. My mom sends a newspaper clipping to him in the mail. It's the indictment of the crazy mom from our childhood. Come to find out, she had been embezzling money from her employer for 5 years, totaling more than $50,000. May have taken 2 decades, but she finally got what was meant for her. TLDR, brother punch kid. Kid's mom sued my family for mental anguish. 20 years later, kid's mom goes to jail for embezzling. Kind of a short story. Kid I met in 6th grade became that kind of is your friend but is really secretly your bully type with me. I knew he was going to fail 6th grade, the first grade in my school system that you could really actually fail and get held back. So he did. I saw him a couple of times in the hall after that, but I haven't really heard from him since. He used to talk about how he wouldn't mind being in jail at all, because you get lots of coleslaw there and he likes coleslaw. Hopefully his wish came true. Growing up with racism definitely isn't the easiest thing in the world. Aside from being bullied yourself, you have to deal with the fact that your siblings or your friends have to deal with the same it. You don't deserve it. Nobody deserves it, but it exists. I imagine seeing that bully as a complete wreck was one of the greatest moments of your life. Unfortunately, not everyone gets to see their childhood tormentors later down the line. I'll tell you this though. I felt ducking amazing when I stood up to my bully in grade 9 of high school. How did I do it? I don't remember, to be perfectly honest. All I remember was a snarky racist remark. Shut up. You're insert background. You don't have the right to speak. That's when I lost it. I mostly remember grabbing him by the shirt and then throwing him against a wall. Once he was pinned against the wall, I alternated between punching his face in and making sure he stayed against the ducking wall. Details are mostly lost to me, but I definitely remember winning that fight. I was suspended for the rest of the day. He was suspended for 3 days due to the racist nature of his remark. Possibly one of the greatest turning points of my life. When I was about 12, my older sister began dating this guy down the street that bullied me a lot. I absolutely couldn't stand this prick, but was always afraid to stand up to him because he was older, bigger, and stronger than me. On a hot summer day, got to be 115 degrees plus where I lived at the time. I came into the house to find my sister and the bully on the couch. I asked them if they wanted any ice cream while I was up. They both said yes. So I scooped them out some vanilla ice cream into 2 separate bowls. Before I scooped his ice cream, I rubbed the spoon all over my sweaty balls and literally scooped sweat off from my grundle. Then proceeded to scoop his ice cream for him into his bowl. I gave them their respective bowls, making sure I put the gooch spoon with his bowl, and left the room with the biggest eating grin on my face. Sometimes revenge truly is a dish best served cold. A guy in high school out of the blue pulled a random girl's shirt over her head and started punching her. Later on in his life he was drafted into the NHL, made millions plus dated Alicia Kubrath. Karma doesn't exist. His name is Sean Avery. When I was in 7th grade, 2 8th grade girls always made fun of me and were generally really mean to me. One of them moved away and I never saw her again. But when the other graduated that year, from JR High to high school, I bought her a box of chocolates. She cried her eyes out and apologized for being a jerk, and we became friends. No aches. GF and I worked at the same place. I was in a different department, different level. We had no real interaction there. She came home one day to tell me about laughing at her new boss who had been hitting on her. Nearly choked when she told me his name. He was my childhood neighborhood bully. Warm fuzzies. Right there. I dated this girl for a year or so. She broke up with me and immediately started dating another guy. I went to talk to her and he basically told me, look, she wants to be with me. I have a job and she needs someone stable in her life. You're a loser. His job was as a line cook and he was in a band part-time. Real career prospects. About a week ago I went to a friend's house to play poker. We acted like men and just pretending like nothing happened. He got kinda drunk and asked me what I do. I graduated college and make very good money as a consultant for a very large and well-known company. I ask him the same. He is going to truck driving school, and she is pregnant. His baby, second baby of his by second girl. Feels good bro JPG. To all these hater responses, the type of job is not the point. It's that he can't hold a single job down for longer than a year or so. Also, they aren't together anymore. She already has a kid. She is preg with his kid. He has a kid. They were engaged and she left him. BC he actually is a loser who can't keep a job. My college roommate secretly slept with my boyfriend while I was at class for a year. I routinely took more than a full course load and was in math science classes or study groups every morning. One day I walked in on them screwing when class was cancelled. Moved out. More angry at her than heartbroken. Lost most of my friends through the breakup. Fast forward 5 years later, those two throw a crazy expensive engagement party at the guy's parents' beach house, attended by some still mutual friends. She caught him boning one of the waitresses for the catering company in a bathroom before the toasts. They still got married. Like OP. I feel a little bad for her despite the karma balance. She feels like she can't do better than being with a cheater. He is rich, though. Back in 1st grade, there was a notorious 2nd grade bully that all the 1st graders feared. I was due to transfer to another school. So on my last day I pretty much did whatever, but then I got an idea. I was gonna beat up the 2nd grade bully. I needed a reason. So during recess he and 2 friends were talking it to anyone who walked by him. I walked by numerous times and nothing. But then he did. And that was all I needed. I brutalized that bitch. Had him against a wall. Less than more than face shot. Then he'd cover his face. Less than more than body shot. Then he'd lower his hands. Then face again. It was like a game of rock paper scissors and he lost every time. Then he just gave up and fell over. At that point I dragged him to a teacher and tossed him at her feet and just said, "Here you go." My name was sung by all 1st graders that day. For the tyranny had been lifted. I was at a new school the next day. TLDR. Karma didn't kick in. I kicked in. I am become Karma, the destroyer of bullies.